Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we are. Well, first of all, today we're hiding off camera today. Since
It's an audio
yeah,
pot,
um,
chat today.
it's gonna be a brief discussion. We're discussing the Disney Gallery, the one that they released recently about Luke Skywalker's return and how they did it. So this one was actually
Yep.
the shortest one so far. You
Yeah.
know,
It was all about one episode.
yeah. So it was shorter. I mean, well, season one we got like 8 hours worth because I think there were like eight different installments, and then for season two we just got
Yeah.
an hour.
Which
And
just discussed all but the this episode.
yeah, and we were like, "What's up with that? This was the most important one."
I remember it was like saying, "Where's the Luke episode? Like, where's I want all this stuff about Luke. Come on."
Mm-hmm. And now,
And
now we got it.
yeah. And I guess, it makes sense. They wanted to keep Luke as secret as possible, so they kind of waited
Mm-hmm.
as long as they could, I felt.
Yeah. MXC, hello. Let's be honest. A show about we wanted to keep it a secret was not a secret. I don't
Yeah.
know there anymore. Yeah.
Um
But I mean that this made sense. I mean there was a lot to talk about, and it was really interesting to see, what went into it, and it was like, I mean, I imagine you guys found the same thing, that it was like actually very emotional, like not just like watching it, but
oh
like
no, it was, yeah.
for the people behind the scenes, like all of them
Yeah, it
seemed to
was.
really be emotionally um,
I
invested.
don't believe
Yeah, yeah.
it's like this. I like honestly, it kind of brought me back to when that episode came out. Was just the everything. Like I was remembering how I felt when when Luke reveal was revealed. It
Mm-hmm.
was just unexpected joy.
Yeah, yeah. It was really it was very exciting.
Yeah.
um,
Um,
but all right, so lots to talk about. Well, I mean, anyway, they started the episode just talking about, which was nice to hear, just like how seriously they take this, like how
yeah.
seriously they take Star Wars, and
That that was that was very interesting and nice to hear. Was to
mhm,
hear how like it's like when you hear about like actors how passionate they are about characters.
mhm,
It's also like nice to hear how kind of connected
yeah,
uh creators feel to something, especially things that aren't theirs in a
mhm,
way. Like,
yeah,
so it's really interesting,
mhm,
that little beginning both with Dave and Favreau.
yeah. Um, Yeah, no, and they talked about how, they have a deep emotional connection to the characters, to the stories, and just how important it is to them that they take good care of it. So, and I mean, I feel like they have, but
Yeah.
so then they went right into it, and then they started talking about, obviously they were trying to keep this very secret,
Yeah.
and I mean, I had heard this recently because, as soon as this was aired, everybody was talking about it. But that
Hmm.
well, not, they put Plo Koon in the script to keep it secret.
I did not hear about that before, but and so it was actually an interesting little surprise
Hmm.
in this to that they had Plo Koon as a throwaway or throw off
Yeah,
thing, which is really cool. And I actually had no idea that Plo Koon was Dave Filoni's favorite Jedi.
I read
Which,
that. I think I read that on Wikipedia. There was one time I was just, I mean, who's not fascinated by Dave Filoni, and I looked him up. Um, Ironically, I looked him up on his birthday. I had no idea when his birthday was. That's not even why I looked it up. I was like, oh, let's just look up Dave Filoni, and it was like, oh my God, today's his birthday. Happy birthday, Dave. But anyway, um, and yeah, and that was mentioned, and like I had never known that until I read that. Oh yeah, they were torn. There were tons of people speculating Plo was going to be the Jedi that Grogu contacted.
wow,
Um,
that I actually never heard about any of that.
mhm.
To be fair, I did try and stay away from theories and rumors, except for to discuss it here.
Well, yeah,
But
same. I mean, the Plo Koon thing I didn't hear about until like this behind the scenes thing was released.
mm,
Um, I didn't know like that's what they had put in the script. Yeah, I stayed away from Reddit. Like, oh,
mm.
you know, um,
And
I don't want any. I didn't want any spoilers.
And I loved how, and honestly, and I have to agree, it's like it is a miracle that they managed to keep this
Yeah.
secret.
Um.
Like, and they managed to get it up to this point because it's like we all speculated and we all guessed, but we never expected, as we said before, we all thought it could happen, but we didn't think it was going to happen.
And even more so, like, I mean, initially you're thinking, okay, they kept this secret for a couple of months, maybe a year. Like, no, like they had this plan before season 1 even aired of The Mandalorian.
Yeah,
I was shocked by that.
Yeah, yeah, and not like, and what is it? They had this like they filmed this like a year before season 2 came out. Like,
so figure it's a couple years that they had this planned, and Mark knew this whole time.
Yeah. And I like what Mark said, where he's like, it just takes one guy. It just takes one person.
Yeah, and they said that they were
just like, yeah.
They were Googling it every day to see if anything leaked.
If any rumors coming up. And then I guess they had like plans to like send out fake leaks to throw people off in case of to basically confuse the network or what's the word, to add traffic to the freeway of information.
And they figured too, if anybody leaked anything, it would be that it's Plo Koon, and Dave was like, well, that that'll he was like, well, it'll appease people, it'll make sense to them because they know that he likes Plo Koon. Yeah. So I wonder
if this got leaked in this way, people would probably find it more believable that this leak.
Yeah.
And I'll say that even if Luke had been sort of leaked, I don't think I would have believed it. Like, it was one of those things where it's like, I would have felt like it would have been fake. It would have maybe hurt the future moment, but it would have definitely, I would not like believed it until I see it, sort of a thing.
Yeah, like, I know, like, when, we were discussing for a couple of weeks, okay, who's it going to be, and, like, obviously Luke came up, but I was like, nah, that's too obvious, like, it's going to be a Jedi we haven't, really talked about in a while, or maybe one we thought was dead, or, like, I think we talked about Mace Windu, like, oh my gosh, that would have been epic,
It was like Mace Windu, we had Ahsoka already, which we had been rumored / kind of revealed, leaked. Which is what they said in this, is like, oh yeah, Ahsoka got leaked, Boba Fett got leaked, and wasn't even intentional, sort of a thing. And, so that was adding to their fear about this one reveal. Yeah.
And it made me feel better. Like, like they had, one of the things that like Dave had said, I remember exactly how they worded it, but like, so when Luke finally does arrive, like, the first thing you see is the X-Wing. Like, he was like, we tried to do it in such a way that, like, when you first see it, you don't really believe it. Like, you think, you're not 100% convinced, and, like, it's kind of like this gradual build-up to, like, then actually, like, there's these little reveals. And I was like, I'm glad he said that, because that made me feel better. Because, like, when I saw the X-Wing, I didn't immediately think of Luke, even though that's, like, obvious. But, like, in that moment, I didn't think of it. I'm like, oh, I thought it was, like, Dave Filoni's character showing up. I don't know. It was like...
So, like, that was... I remember when we discussed it, was like, when the X-Wing shows up, we thought... my first reaction was the Republic. And then... when the X-Wing lands, that's when it hit me who it was, because it was like, who else could be in one single X-Wing? But again, I couldn't believe it. So I was like, I had to see it. I had to like, then you see the Jedi robe, and you're like, okay, it's a Jedi. And a Jedi and an X-Wing. Okay, are we like, is it certain? And then we see a Jedi with like a lightsaber. And then we see the green lightsaber. We're all like, okay, it's like it's building, but again, you're still not 100%. Even if you don't know us 100%.
Yeah,
it's a great build up.
Yeah. And then there's the reveal, and it's like, oh my gosh, it's really him.
Yeah, and
if only can bring back Maul from being cut in half and falling down an endless pit, surely he could bring back Plo from the fiery death crash. Of course.
Honestly, though, if it had been like, I feel like Plo Koon would have been like the actual backup if Mark Hamill or whatever reasoning they could not actually add Luke to this. It would have been like, okay, Plo Koon's the backup. Or something. I feel like that would...
I feel like, see, and I feel like, I mean, I don't know if they asked Samuel L. Jackson to come back as Mace. I feel like he would say yes in a heartbeat. Like, he loves this
Oh
stuff.
yeah, Samuel. It's like Samuel's been begging for years. Like, give me something with Mace. Give me another like Mace show or something.
I
I feel
might
like
hope they do
you
soon
know
because
what? I could.
he's
And
getting
honestly,
older.
if Mace had showed up at the end of this, I would have been like, going with Grogu, but I mean, I guess him and Grogu do have a history if they've both at the Jedi Temple.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, it's like I have to get to know if Mace is alive, which again is like we don't know if he is. I have to know what Mace has been up to,
Mm-hmm.
what kind of
Mm-hmm.
Jedi he is.
Um, yeah, I don't know how Mark Hamill kept it a secret for so long. I mean, I get, well, like he said himself in the thing, in the special, he had to
In
keep,
Empire.
yeah, he had to keep Empire a secret for like a year and a half, I think. Um,
Mm.
it's,
Like I, um, and that's another thing is it's not just um not just Mark, but it's like also the people he's working for, but it's also his family too, if whoever was
yeah.
with him.
I wonder if he tells his wife these things. Like, and maybe she's a really good secret keeper.
Yeah, I remember I think they said they were talking. Mark was like reading the script, they were talking with his wife.
Oh
So like,
yeah,
so obviously she knew too.
that's true.
She knew.
That's true. They probably let her in on the secret.
Um,
Um, yeah, it was cool to see him at the footage of him. I'm guessing it was at like his house or something outside,
yeah,
in the outfit and holding,
yeah.
baby
That
Grogu.
that was really I knew they talked about like how they did film or they had Mark Hamill on set,
Mm-hmm.
so I knew about that. It wasn't like asking his permission. So they actually had him on set
Mm-hmm.
in the outfit. And it was really really kind of again it felt even though like I knew about it, it's like it felt emotional just seeing that too,
Yeah.
just seeing him wearing the Jedi robes and everything else with the green lightsaber.
Mm-hmm.
Which I gotta say that must be interesting for Mark. Like it's like all like filming the original, all he had was sticks. Now he's actually got a glowing saber, like
Mm-hmm.
this time, something that lights up.
Yeah, that's true.
I was like, hey, technology's catching up.
Mm-hmm. Um, but yeah, I was wondering if like, back to like when they were talking about the leaks or whatever. I wonder if there's any like repercussions for people who do leak stuff.
I I'm certain there are, but it's one of those things where it's like I guess I do feel like there would definitely be severe things not things but it's like they probably wouldn't be
Repercussions.
either fired or not allowed to film in certain areas anymore or
Yeah,
something.
I wonder how they like figure it out. I mean, like what they do to figure that out if there's like an investigation or I mean, hey, they got a pretty good tech team. They could probably just head to the computer for like 5 minutes and figure like trace this Reddit user back to the this
I
computer.
yeah yeah I don't like I it's one of those things where it's like I guess because again they tried to condense the crew to as little as possible. So I guess it's one of those things where it's like okay, it had to be one of these 20 people,
Mm-hmm.
sort of thing,
Yeah,
and
I
we
would.
know it wasn't these 10
Mm-hmm.
because these 10 wouldn't do that.
Yeah, yeah. Like I wonder if they handpick certain people. Like, okay, we've worked with this person for a long time. We can trust them.
Yeah,
Like I don't know. I would imagine
yeah.
like the
I
older.
do feel like they were very like again it's like very careful, but at the same time it's one of those things where it's like I not that I it's one of those things where it's like I don't want to think about it because it's like yeah what does happen?
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure whoever does leak tries to stay anonymous. I don't
Yeah.
think they straight up say because I feel like if you straight up say who you are and what you did, and it's like yeah you were asking to be fired or something.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I doubt anybody's that obvious.
So yeah.
Um.
Um.
Hey, who would want to be a Galaxy Edge with Mark Hamill walking around as Grandmaster Luke? OMG, I would fanboy so hard. That would be
Me
amazing.
too. Yeah. I did. I also liked that they it wasn't for the how they talked also about R2D2 for
Yeah. Um, yeah, yeah. Dave was talking about how he had said to John Favreau, like, listen, you bring back Luke Skywalker, you got to bring back R2D2. And John had this moment, like, oh my God, you're right. And
yeah
like, apparently John has like this emotional attachment
yeah
to R2. Like that was his favorite character growing up, and so it really meant so much to him to bring him back. And he even said that he got like emotional when he saw like R2 come around
yeah
Luke in that last scene.
um,
That was when he broke down.
yeah
So sweet.
uh yeah NDAs. That's what
Hmm.
they have, the legal things for saying,
Yeah.
hey, you can't say this, otherwise you're gonna be you're gonna be sued or something for it.
Hmm. Yeah, but clearly, like, I
A lot of
figure they
legal.
have those, but clearly not, like, people aren't abiding by them. So, like, I'm just curious. You don't hear about people getting sued. That's the thing, unless it's really kept hush hush. But, um,
Probably. And again, it's like sometimes maybe they can't narrow it down,
yeah.
sort of thing. And I feel like the one with Boba Fett, that was filmed out in location. I feel like somebody probably would have spotted them from a distance
Yeah.
and such. And um, Rosario more or less like fan asked or something? Like she was like
Yeah.
people wanted her. So I feel like and also wasn't it like a toy thing that revealed her, sort of thing, like a toy had her
There
face
were
on
a
it?
couple things. There was that, but also she was listed for the show. I think like somebody in like Europe put something on social media on their, like, was it the Disney Plus? Some official page in like Europe posted that she would be in it, like
Yeah,
listed her officially or something, and that kind of leaked it.
yeah. So
What?
it's not always a person, sort
Right,
of
right.
thing.
Well, yeah, and like, well, they even said too, like Dave said, yeah, everybody knew about Ahsoka, everybody knew about Boba Fett, like everybody knew that these characters were coming, and
Mm,
I think who played them, so like that wasn't
yeah,
really a big secret. Um,
yeah. And honestly, even though, well, for me, Boba Fett wasn't like, I mean, until the end of the first episode of Mandalorian, I never expected Boba Fett to come back, sort
hmm.
of thing,
Yeah,
until we actually did see him. So I knew about his armor, I heard his armor was going to be in the season, but I didn't know he was going to be back,
right.
sort of thing. Um, and sorry, there's a car.
Oh, it sounded like a plane.
Um, and yeah, Rosario, like that was, yeah, the toy and everything. Which, again, I thought that could be photoshopped, like that could have been faked or something. But at the same time, it's like, again, I didn't go out looking for these leaks or rumors because
Yeah.
it's not something like I don't want to ruin the show for
Hmm.
me.
Yeah, same. I when it comes to Star Wars in general, I don't like to be spoiled. Like even before, like,
Mhm.
the Rise of Skywalker came out, or Last Jedi, like the sequel trilogy. Like I never went online to look for spoilers. Like
Yeah.
I just kept my head down. I stuck to the trailers.
Yeah.
Pete Beckins,
Right. I
hello.
think
How are you?
Rise of Skywalker is the only one where I actually didn't care if I'd gotten leaked.
Yeah.
Because I kind of was more like, I need to know what I'm going into, sort of thing
Mm-hmm.
this time.
Um.
Sort of. But that was it. Otherwise, like before, like Last Jedi, Solo, Rogue One, all that, I tried to keep as trailer only.
Yeah.
And now I'm doing that with Marvel too. It's like
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man, all that.
Pete Becker's Luke coming back was my greatest Star Wars moment. Aw, yeah, it really was
Yeah.
epic, and they did such a great job with it. And like, so like that was another thing that was really interesting is they, the bulk of the episode was to talk about how they created Luke.
Yeah, which I liked, again, like I love these behind the scenes stuff. I love learning about the technology
Mm-hmm.
and everything else that they're doing to make these things happen. And it was interesting how they talked about each idea or presentation to make this happen.
Mm-hmm.
And one was the deep fake, one was the full digital, and the other was painting, like de-aging
De-aging,
painting
yeah.
sort of a thing. and they went with the de-aging one, and like as like I'll be a little critical. I will say it is hard. It does kind of look stiff for me now that if I'm to be critical about it.
Yeah.
But because when they showed the deepfake, I was stunned. I was like, wow, that actually looks like him. Like the deepfake versions. But of course, they talked about it later. It was like, I understand why they didn't go with it, because there's legal risk with it now, and they need to make sure that they can be as safe as possible with it. Which I like that conversation that they brought up, that Favreau said. It's like, we need to be safe with deepfakes before we can actually start using them for good.
Yeah, I didn't, that part of the episode like confused me. I was like, why is there a warning with this episode? Like, I don't get it. I was like, what am I missing here? I felt like what are we talking about here? Like a crime? Is there like a crime with that? I was so confused.
Oh, I didn't notice a warning.
Well, that's how they were very serious about it. Like they were like, yeah, like you were saying, we have to be very careful. We have to be very responsible, and I was like, all right, so what's going on in my head here?
The thing about deepfakes is sometimes you can make someone, basically make someone look like they said something when it wasn't really them. That's kind of the scary thing about deepfakes, and that's that's why they're trying to, go back to Forrest Gump. Wow, yeah, and as they said, as Favreau said, the technology is close to being perfect, which I agree with. And he mentioned his voice was synthesized. I could not have believed that that it was a fake voice for Luke. I thought that it was either somebody doing a good impression or Mark himself, but with a little bit of tweaking to him.
That's what I thought. I figured it was Mark Hamill's voice, and they just tweaked it to sound a little bit younger and clearer. There was huge media outcry about injecting Tom
Hanks in Forrest Gump footage. In the old footage. I never knew about that, but I've seen that. I like that movie, and I kind of get what you mean about the whole. I look at it as an effect, though, for that. I never thought about when I was a kid. I never thought about the implications of doing something like that. But yeah, that is an interesting thing, that how far they've come from Forrest Gump, where all they did was move mouths in old footage and kind of add a voice sort of thing to make it look like Tom Hanks was interacting with these historical figures in old footage. And now here we are with making people almost look exactly like their younger selves or another person entirely.
Right. Let's see. So, they talked a lot about, and they mentioned, that they decided to go with the de-aging, and
because that's theirs. That's not there's a less legal issue with that.
Yeah. And they referenced how they did that in Ant-Man.
Which, I guess, I'm not an expert on young Michael Douglas, but I feel like they did a really good job with his face. I never would have guessed it was he was de-aged.
Yeah.
Until somebody.
And they also mentioned that they brought in another actor to
be the face.
Yeah.
Or, the body or the face.
And they showed him kind of going through the fighting, and they talked about the fighting a little bit. They were saying how it needed to be similar to what we saw in Return of the Jedi, but yet a little bit better. Some
he's
improvement.
Had a few years.
Yeah.
To train. But he's as they say, he's no Ahsoka. He's not as fluid or skilled, but he's still better than where he was.
Right.
And I like that too. Luke is a great Jedi, but he's still learning. He's Ahsoka's been a quote unquote Jedi for almost 40 years at that point.
Yeah. And has had more training and
Mhm.
more experience, honestly, So,
Yeah.
um, the lead that took with Spider-Man, William Def- Defoe and Alfred
Alfred Miller.
Molina.
Yeah, some probably like de-aging for some characters in the new Spider-Man movie.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So
and
they talked about how about shooting Mark on set, and
mhm.
had they had to put him in something called like so they shot him like doing the scene, and then
Right.
after that they put him in something called an egg.
It was, yeah, it's like a basically a light source where they can film and
Mm-hmm.
adjust the lighting so that they
Yeah.
can kind of more or less make a 3D face
Mm-hmm.
and, you know, like get the right texture, basically like get his skin so
Yeah.
that they know how to match it to a younger version of him.
Mm-hmm.
I just think. And I like that they talked about how Luke looks different in different lighting.
Yeah.
And it's like something I never really thought about, but I can actually kind of see it when it's pointed out to me. Is yeah, especially uh like the bright light on one side. Like another thing, that was another thing I felt like that to be critical about the de or whatever they did, the de-aging that they did to him, is he did like it, not only did he feel stiff, but I felt like his eyes were really small. I felt like Luke has these really big eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Like Mark always had these really big eyes when he
Right.
was Luke, especially in Return of the Jedi. But here I felt like he was much smaller eyed or something.
I didn't even notice that. What stuck out to me this time around was like, I feel like if they had just made his hair more like 70s, 80s,
Yeah, more
well,
poofy or something.
late 70s, yeah. It needed that little flair, that
Yeah.
little it looked too much like it was the year, 2020 or
Yeah.
2021, whatever.
Yeah.
Um
Another thing for me is I felt like they should have had the like Luke smile a little more because
mm,
he did. I feel like that's the thing about like even like Mark or Luke has like this always seemed to be smiling, whether it's cocky or
mhm.
genuine.
Yeah.
He always has this
You're
little
right.
smile with him,
Yeah, this was more
and
robotic.
I didn't feel like Luke was smile. Like I felt like Luke needed to be smiling to give a little more of a warm presence
Mhm.
when he was taking Grogu away instead of
Yeah.
this guy that just showed up.
He was very detached.
Yeah.
um
So yeah, to be critical about that's my issues. That I would like to see them
yeah.
fix if they're going to continue with a de-aged Luke in some future projects.
Right. Well, they hired, which they didn't, obviously, I guess they didn't mention this, but like they hired that guy from YouTube to
Yeah.
to fix it.
Um.
So, I don't know if they'll be using him on like future projects or something. If they do this again.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I believe like they're going to, I don't feel like I'm going to be thrown off by any future as Luke, young Luke,
Mm-hmm.
as much as this or whatever. It's like I feel like they're going to do as the best they can because it will be much more forefront
Mm-hmm.
sort of a thing.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, and also again, they've learned from this that now they can do better when they actually have it being the main focus
Mm-hmm.
of an episode or a series.
Right. It would be funny if they hired the deepfake guy to keep him from posting more YouTube videos that are better than theirs. Very smart.
It's like if you can't beat us, you got to join us.
Mm-hmm.
It's like join me and we can rule this the deep fake as consumer and product. Yeah.
They also talked about how, so like leading up to that point, like there's no music.
Oh, yeah, or it was like there's no John Williams music. There's never been any
Right.
of the original trilogy music.
Mm-hmm. And then yeah, and then when
up until that point.
right, and then when the doors open and they play Binary Sunset.
Yeah, they play the
original
Force
trilogy.
theme, the Jedi, and yeah, it adds to that moment
Mm-hmm.
very much. So, and you know what? I actually never noticed that none of the music in Mandalorian was from any of the original trilogy. Like it, I could have sworn that there had been some music,
Oh, really?
like to any of the movies, but I was actually shocked that there's been no like original themes until this point. like,
Maybe some of it was inspired because I was gonna say when like I know when we saw Ahsoka at one point you hear like the Force theme, but maybe it was like a different
I
like
think it was her
rendition of it.
theme,
Was it her
which
theme?
sounds very similar to the Force theme, but yeah, I don't. I think it's close probably, but yeah. That's one thing that is like an old piece of track because yeah, that is her theme being brought back.
Okay.
Um, but I was like, was there any like Boba Fett music or any kind of like Imperial music? I was like, but yeah, no, there was like nothing I could. Now that I like put my brain back in the past, it's like I
Mm-hmm.
don't. It's kind of interesting that there was. This is the first time they actually used music that
Yeah.
is John Williams alone, sort of thing.
Boba got his own theme. Okay.
Yeah, a new theme of sorts. Um, yeah, this and like so even okay, so like Luke it was like the main thing to talk about, but they also talked about the finale with Grogu and Mando party, and
Yeah. Um.
and I gotta say that's probably one of my favorite moments in Star Wars now is
Mm-hmm.
that departure
And then
because it's
goodbye.
so bittersweet
Mm-hmm.
and it still gets me even now.
Yeah. Yeah. Just like the subtle the I love in any movie with anything, especially when it comes to something that's emotional, rather than
Mm-hmm.
like having everybody like talk about their feelings. Oh my god, I'm gonna miss you so much, and it's like this. I like it when it's very subtle, like
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yeah,
like like um Mando like does a gesture of taking off his helmet.
yeah.
It's like making himself vulnerable. And then
You,
Grogu touching his face, like looking at him for the first time, and
yeah,
having that like kind of like sealing their bond. Um,
yeah,
like I like it when it's subtle and not so much dramatic and in your face.
yeah. And I agree because it honestly feels more real
Mm-hmm.
in a weird like it feels that moment. And again, every single time I think about it, it's like I like even the behind the scenes when you see like them animating Grogu, I
Yeah,
keep forgetting
he's not
it's a
real.
puppet.
I know.
It's not a real baby Yoda, but it's like, oh my gosh, it's real baby Yoda.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not. How is it so good?
I remember for season one of Behind the Scenes, they all said the same thing too. The actors that like they
Yeah.
would forget that it wasn't real, and there they would be like making such a big fuss over, it, and it's like, all right, it's not real. It's not a real baby. Gotta chill out.
They start like making little like coochie coochie faces or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Peekaboo. It's like, oh wait, right, it's not. And I remember like I think I heard something about like people who would talk to like the Muppets, like Kermit and Miss Piggy and all that. They forget that like when like the cameras are off and everything else, they'd still be talking to the puppet. They wouldn't be talking to like the actor or the puppeteer
That's so
sort of
funny.
thing.
I get
And it's just
that.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
you're so connected to
Mm-hmm.
these characters, you forget they're not real. Even
Yeah.
they're real in a way.
Mm-hmm. And like I don't know about you, but like I'm one of those people like in social situations where I don't like to talk to people. So if I'm ever at like a party, they make memes about this. Like I'm the person at the party where
Where you're like alone in the corner with your cup.
no with the dog, with the pet, whoever the pet is. I don't care if you got a dog
Mm.
or a cat. If there's a party, like they're the ones that I'm hanging out with. So
You
I could see
you'll
myself
just
being
be
like
all
that.
over the cat and
Yeah,
dog.
I'll just hang out with a puppet. It's cute enough. Um, who
Um,
knew that departure was the last time we would ever see Caratoon 2? Oh God.
ha. Um,
I'm sure many debated. um,
uh, let's
yeah,
see.
she's off doing her own thing now.
But yeah. Seeing, yeah, the act. yeah, the departure with uh, Grogu being carried, like how they said it was like gonna be like it was like E.T. sort of a thing where
Yeah.
this is kind of that Spielberg feeling to it,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I definitely felt the magic there,
Yeah.
and yeah, and especially oh man, they the saying about how like it really felt like these are like people who grew up because like I'm kind of I would say second generation Star Wars
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't grow up with the original trilogy, even though I did grow up with the original trilogy, but I didn't. I grew up with the prequels too, so I would say I'm second generation Star Wars, whereas my parents grew up with the first when it came out
Mm-hmm.
actually. So um, so it was like how they talked about like how people who grew up aren't now they're the parents and now they
Right.
got to like teach like show their kids and everything else and like um and it was kind of like they're saying goodbye to their kids at some point. And it's
Mm-hmm.
the same kind of feeling when you see Grogu being carried away
Yeah.
to Mando. And yeah, that got me thinking like one day if I, like whenever I have kids it's like it's gonna be that feeling like they're gonna be like third generation Star Wars.
What if they don't like Star Wars? Now, I feel like if
Well,
you grew up watching it young enough, like if you get them started like at birth and just,
yeah,
ingrain it in them.
yeah. It's like I mean, you start them young, they'll all find something.
Yeah.
And what's funny is like the Star Wars is not just one trilogy. It's now kind of a world.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a cartoon. It's got two TV shows. It's got a TV show.
Mm-hmm.
It's got three trilogies.
Yeah. Might be heresy.
Some side movies now.
Don't take that, Inspector. I'm not saying it's gonna happen. I'm just saying, can you imagine, like, whether it's Star Wars or Marvel or whatever, like, and it's like your absolute favorite thing, like you're obsessed with fandom, you
Oh
introduce it to
yeah,
your kids, and like,
and you want to
like it.
like show your kids that it's like
Mm-hmm.
the kids don't
But
follow in your footsteps.
I feel like if you show it to them young enough, like, my nephew
Oh yeah,
watches Star
that
Wars
is
since he
always
was like
like
2.
I don't want to say the fear, but the I don't know. Like again, I've never had kids, so it's like I don't know. Like I don't even know if that's not the right word. Influence them is not the right word, but it's like grow them up, educate them. I don't know.
Indoctrinate them with Star Wars.
It's like I mean, I was when I remember when I was a kid, like I grew up with Star Wars and other things that got came into my life. I would be like obsessed with them,
Mm-hmm.
and my obsession would shift over time. And then I come back to Star Wars, then I go to another thing, like Harry Potter
Mm-hmm.
or recently Marvel, and then I come back to Star Wars. Right now, it's like all over the place. There's like 20 different things I'm obsessed with now.
It's hard being a fan in this world.
Yeah, honestly, it's like the entertainment. There's just so much now. It's like you just. I felt like like back then I felt like I could watch everything. I could live my whole life and see everything. Now it's like I don't think I can live and see everything now. There's too much of everything.
Yeah, it's like I feel like as kids, it's different when you're adult. It's like your mind is just overwhelmed by it all.
Yeah, it's like you don't not only do you not have the time to sit down and watch everything, but like there's like 15 different streaming services with 15 different shows on each of them.
Yeah.
And then it's like then you have like the TV show, the TV channel shows. It's like the soap operas,
Mm-hmm.
the morning shows. And then there's foreign shows, like British shows or Indian shows and Japanese shows.
Yeah.
It's like there's just so much media now that we all have access to, but not always having the time. So you gotta, pick your battles sort of a thing.
Yeah. Well, yeah. When we were kids, it was different. You had like 5 channels on the TV, and that was it. And then like I said, my parents recorded a couple movies off of the TV on the VHS,
Yeah.
and that was what we watched over and over again. Back in my day. Imagine if you could
Our
have
day.
Star Trek 2. God. Our day, right?
Star Trek too. I
Don't.
you have seen Star Trek, right?
What?
Like, you have seen Star Trek,
I
right? You said
have,
that?
yeah. Growing up, I used to watch like Star Trek. Like, I wouldn't say like I'm not like a huge fan or anything. Like I've seen
Yeah.
some episodes. I remember Star Trek was always on. I think it was before like Cheers or Seinfeld came on.
It's like CBS, wasn't it? It was on like one of the CBS channels.
I think it was. This was okay. So where I'm from, it was Channel 11, and it used to be called WPIX.
Oh. I was like, I always remember CBS at the end of the program, sort of thing, which is I think like the main like company that like runs all these. Well, there's ABC too, but
I watched the reruns. Like I wasn't watching. Yeah, so when I watched it on that channel, it was reruns, not like new ones.
yeah, wait, was it Oh, it's now on CBS Student Licensing. Interesting. Which one? Okay, which Star Trek is it? Is it Kirk Spock or is it like Picard or
Picard, like Next Generation.
hmm?
Picard.
Next Generation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. I think mine was Deep Space Nine, but I was a kid. I would fall asleep to that. Like, but I remember like I'd take naps, and it would be on the TV, so my parents would be watching it. But I didn't know it was Deep Space Nine at the time.
Mm-hmm. It's with Paramount.
Okay.
My mom is like a big Star Trek fan. Like she grew up watching it, like the original.
If we ever cover Star Trek at some point, I don't know if we ever will.
I don't know if I like. I'm sure I would enjoy. Like I remember enjoying it when I was, watching it as a kid. But like, I just don't think I can handle another fandom. I just
yeah, no, it's
too much.
big, right? Like not only that, but like there's like 12 shows and there's like 10 seasons each,
Yeah.
or like 2 seasons for some. But I was gonna say it's like, what if we could get your mom? How quiz your mom on live
Oh
and see
gosh.
how.
Growing up, she always talked about the episode from the originals called "The Trouble with Tribbles."
Oh, the fluffy triples, yeah.
The Tribbles, yeah, they were like these little furry creatures, and that was like her favorite episode, and she used to talk about it all the time, and she was so excited. I think we finally got it for her, like I think it was like on VHS or something, and we watched it with her, and it was very cute. These little creatures that were just like multiplying, I think.
Yeah, the little fur balls that just keep going everywhere. That's a classic, yeah. Yeah, like my dad's currently like watching one of the Star Trek shows, Voyager, at the time right now.
Oh.
And it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, it's like I actually just talked to a friend about Star Trek. It was like who had never seen it before, and they were like, yeah, it's like they know about like Next Generation, they know about like the original series. And I was like, yeah, and there's also Deep Space Nine, there's also Voyager, there's also the new Enterprise, there's also, and they were like, oh wow, there's way more than I thought there was. And there's the movies, of course, too.
Mm-hmm. I've seen some of the original movies. Again, my mom had shown me.
Yeah.
My mom had Star Trek all over her classroom. Her students loved it. Calculus nerds. Oh, that's cool. That's a good idea.
Cool.
For like a theme. Planet Rise.
I love that now. Like how
little
nerd culture is no longer just kids stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Or like adults now can like relate to kids in a way.
Yeah.
Which is great. So back to Star Wars.
I know we always get sidetracked. I mean, that's really it.
Well, it's like we're at the tail end of everything.
Yeah, they closed with just talking about how like John sent Mark some reaction videos, fans watching that scene, and like he just like ate it up, like he was loving seeing their reaction to him. And
I remember like Mark talking about that, like or tweeting about that. It was how he was very happy to have, like, it made him feel great. It made him feel amazing to see a character he loved and a character that exploded his career, you know, is still being loved by just all these adults too, not just kids, but it's like all the adults are now like in tears of joy and everything else. And it's like, I wonder if you only watched like one video, but sometimes it makes me wonder, it's like, has Mark Hamill seen my video? Has Mark Hamill seen me?
You never know.
It's like, have I been seen by Luke?
Aw, you never know. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Little side note, you know, I mean, I read too much into things sometimes, but did you guys notice that, like, the video, the clip of the interview that they kept sharing when they were interviewing Mark Hamill, did you notice how his voice sounded different?
It did sound like a little, like there was one point where somebody was talking and I wasn't sure if that was Mark.
Yeah.
I thought it was somebody else for a second. And then it was back to and then it was back to Mark. Was like, okay, it is Mark. But I was like, I was definitely thrown off for a second. I was like, maybe he's starting to like lose that voice.
When they were interviewing him outside, that was when his voice sounded different. And
maybe that could be it too.
I wasn't sure if he was sick, like a cold or something, or allergies. But then, like, you know, like I start to overthink. I was like, oh gosh, like how long ago did they film this? Like, does he have like a serious illness? Like like I started to overthink it. But then, like I said, I don't know at what point they filmed this. This could have been like a year or two ago. They were sitting outside. It could have been allergies, but it was like significantly different. Like it really didn't sound like him.
Drier.
Yeah, and like just like deep, like it, he has a very distinct voice, and there's yeah, definitely sounded different. Maybe he was hoarse. Maybe he was just doing like some voice acting, and he had no voice left. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, that was interesting. That yeah, I was wondering about. Like, I wasn't wondering about that, but I was just like, I definitely noticed that. I was like, that's interesting. I guess, maybe it's age. Maybe he's like getting to that point where it's like his voice isn't starting to sound like it anymore.
No, it's never gonna happen. He's ageless. He's gonna live forever. His voice is never gonna change. Mark Hamill is immortal. The fans have spoken.
Let's see. Anything?
Really? Everything.
I honestly want that Dave Filoni drawing of Grogu and R2 on a t-shirt.
Oh yeah, that was such a. I love it. He's just so like I don't know I lost the word. But
cute.
Like, well, no, like, I just thought it was so funny how here he is telling John about it, and he was, oh, yeah, hold on a second, let me draw a picture of it. And he's just like, 1, 2, 3.
Oh, yeah. I love that about Dave. I was just like, draw. Done.
And there he comes out with this, like, gut-wrenchingly beautiful picture that just speaks to you.
That's another thing, like, I love about, I remember, like, seeing, like, old, or, like, I think Dave talked about this, but also, if you watch like old interviews or videos, when George was explaining like Clone Wars stuff, you'd see Dave drawing in the background.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, yep, I like that.
Yeah, he's got a very creative mind, and it just comes naturally to him. And he's also been drawing them forever, Yeah, if Mark is going to drink enough whiskey to turn our son into a binary system.
Aww.
We will have a funeral, a week-long memorial service.
Okay, let's start this stuff. Okay.
Yeah, let's not think about it. Let's not put anything into the year.
Yeah,
2020 and 2021 have been some rough years. Let's not add to it. Same with Betty White. If Betty White goes, guys, you're gonna have to help me pull it together. She's the last one standing.
You can join the others.
No,
not yet.
Betty White's immortal too.
I do like that. I'm pretty sure you've seen that, the picture of Betty White with a lightsaber, and you see the other Golden Girls.
Yeah.
Force Ghost.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
But B. Arthur was in the holiday special, so technically
Right,
the
yeah.
Golden Girls is Star Wars canon in my book.
Right. Like, B. Arthur was secretly a Tatooine.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Yep.
was it Tatooine, or was it Mos Eisley's cantina?
Yeah, I think it was the cantina.
Secretly like Mos Eisley bartender. After did Golden Girls, was that during the original trilogy or was that before the original trilogy?
It was a few years after. I think they started in like 1987, maybe.
Hmm.
When did the
I almost want to look that
maybe
up.
it was like the later 80s, I think. I should. Oh God, I
Yeah.
should know this. This is embarrassing. I want to say 87. All right, hold on.
Mid 80s. Okay. So after Star Wars started.
I'm googling it. Golden Girls. I love it when you type in something and it just decides you're saying something different. September 14th, 1985.
Okay, yeah. And Return of the Jedi was 83, I think.
So.
So, yeah, it was definitely after the original trilogy. So she left Tatooine and joined the Golden Girls.
Yes.
That was another it was like another thing. It was like oh shoot. Oh, like how Mark he like how he said, and I remember like hearing him talk about this in other interviews, but it's like one day like I become like I go through this whole journey to become a Jedi and then we stop. There's no more after this.
Yeah.
And it's just like, man, I kind of want to like see what Luke happens to Luke after you become awesome. Become a Jedi. It's like,
yeah, we never really get to see Luke at the height of his power, especially like,
yeah.
I mean, they did have the opportunity in the sequel trilogy and he didn't get that moment there.
Yeah, he didn't exactly get what we expected for him after his whole journey.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was definitely like I remember. I love that. I remember as a kid, after watching Return of the Jedi, I like when Return of the Jedi ended. I turned to my parents and said, "When's the next one? Like, what happens after?" And they're like, "Nope, that's it." And it was just like, "What? What do you mean that's it? No, more Star Wars."
Oh.
And now here we are, more Star Wars than I ever imagined.
Yeah. But Star Wars was a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, so Golden Girls were potentially Jedi Padawans that escaped the temple with Grogu. Well, there you go. That
See, long
totally
time ago,
sense.
man. Yeah, B. Arthur's just a Jedi in hiding.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly hope we can get it. Like, it's kind of like one of those things where it's like, actually, Mandalorian came out and then Clone Wars followed. It would have been really funny if they had snuck Grogu into Clone Wars, like in the background or something.
Maybe they did. You never know.
I guess that would have actually revealed Grogu was in. Then that didn't get revealed that Grogu was from the Jedi Temple until Mandalorian season 2. I guess that would have. That would have been, yeah. I would like to actually see Grogu's past though, like a flashback to the Jedi Temple and something. Maybe even how he escaped.
Well,
like
you never know with
another Order 66 scene.
With Kenobi coming back, and I'm sure we're gonna have flashbacks. We might they might sneak him in there.
Oh, that would be actually really funny. Is you see Anakin and Obi-Wan, and Anakin's talking to Grogu. It's like, and then oh gosh, and then and it's like Grogu is like hiding, and then there's Anakin in the temple.
It would be cool if they had snuck that in there and showed us how like he escaped, but like not make it the focus, like something like happening in the background, like
It's like hey. There's Grogu. You see him? Bye.
Yeah. Or maybe have like a hooded Jedi taking him, and then like not until the Mandalorian do we find out who that hooded Jedi was.
then yeah, now Grogu's with Luke. And speaking of Kenobi, that's next year, right? Like that should be like March.
Yeah, I
Is
think
that like the date?
I don't remember exactly, but sometime in 2022. I want to say spring 2022, but I don't really remember.
Yeah. They said they wrapped recently.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, we got Visions, Book of Boba Fett, and then Kenobi.
Lots of good stuff coming.
Yep. All right.
All right, guys. Well, I guess that wraps our discussion of the return of Luke Skywalker.
Yep. Yeah, I definitely I'm glad that they finally came out with this, and how also like this was very Luke focused, and I like how they also, one other thing is that I like how they talked about how important this character was.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. Which, I feel like it's obvious, but at the same time it feels like it's almost now needs to be said after everything that had happened since then.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was just cool to see how seriously they took it and everything they put into it.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm ready for the next thing. I'm ready for the next thing. Hopefully we can see Luke and Ahsoka meet. That'd be
awesome.
Yeah. Just Luke, Ahsoka, Grogu.
All right. Well, I guess that wraps it up. So, yeah, lots to look forward to. We had a great time discussing all of this. Thank you guys for hanging out with us and chatting with us about it. And we will be back on Wednesday for the next episode of What If.
Yeah, Wednesday What If, and what are we, like 3 weeks away from Visions? So
yeah, sometime in September. I don't remember when exactly, but yeah.
22nd, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
So. Yep. So nothing Star Wars for a little while, but we'll be back for that soon.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you again for hanging out with us. Everybody have a great rest of the night, and we will catch you all on Wednesday. Bye, everyone.
Bye.